Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Node Nerds, our computerized education podcast. We have some amazing topics to talk about today. Let's first do some introductions. I'm Tucker Nace, a part of the computerized education team. Next, we have Kat.
Hello, also part of the computerized education team, and special guest stars, my dogs that'll be bebopping in and out of the background, I'm sure. And Kayla.
I'm Kayla from Wisconsin, also with the computerized team.
Cool. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what non-sewing items we use in our sewing room. This could be, on our long arms. This could be on our regular sewing machines, anything we use non-sewing related in our studio. The first thing I'm going to talk about just a little bit is music. You have to have good music in your studio, right? So a good speaker or a good set of headphones to put on and listen to your favorite music or your favorite quilting podcast when you're quilting is a great thing to have.
That's
That was
awesome.
Mhm.
That's so great. I have noise canceling headphones that I put on, so I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about those.
That's funny because I always have music, and I didn't even think of that as one of the items. Like, good call, Tucker.
Thank you.
Yep.
I spy in Kayla's studio something that I also have in mind, which is a lint roller.
Yep, for sure.
Yep, handy for those little threads.
Yeah. Just for threads or for pet dander, Mrs. Husky in the background? What is it?
They're not really allowed in the studio.
Okay.
It's very rare that they're in there. But it's mostly for like the little threads, like when ripping out threads, or when you know how like you peel a client's top. I don't know if you float, but you peel the top back and they have like little threads that are stuck to the batting. I'll use the lint roller to kind of like pat on there and pull off those threads too. I don't know.
That's a good point
for me.
Something that goes along with lint, I use a mini paintbrush. So when I clean out my bobbin, I just got at like a craft fair or craft store, I just bought like a cheap multi-pack of paintbrushes to use to dust.
I thought it was a makeup brush. I was like,
oh, that's probably because I put it to my face, right? Those would work too.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I was talking with Paula Ross from our hand guided team, and she says that she has a clear piece of acrylic that she'll put down on top of the quilt top and doodle around that to get some ideas out and kind of plan her quilt that way.
You know, I was thinking too, something with hand guiders that might seem as like a no-brainer is chalk.
Yep.
But as a computerized person, I don't use chalk to actually draw on my quilt top. I use it if I get some oil on a quilt. So really? I just have white chalk and it absorbs the oil.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, that's what I have, just a little chunk of white sidewalk chalk that I use.
Oh, that's a good tip. I'm gonna have to write that down. I like that. Chalk. I have on the back of my machine those like closet mirrors. Remember like when you were in college and you had to buy like the cheap. So I have those so I can see underneath the quilt. And then I have an old card catalog. Like it's not big. It's only like yay by yay. And I put all my little wooden beads and things like that in there because I love little wooden beads. Okay. So, I mean, it's not really sewing, but it's craft related. So it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Tucker, what else do you have?
I think, see, my stuff is so like out of this, not things that anyone would normally think about, but organization, right? Whether that's, like a organizer to keep your quilts that you have going in and out, or, bookshelves in your background that you have all your fabric stored on. Those things aren't technically sewing related, but they can make your studio look nice and make it flow a lot more easy. I have about 3,000 different storage things. And none of them work at the moment. They're all a hot mess, but they do help. But definitely storage. I know some of the educators have like those bins and drawers that they keep underneath their machine to like store their thread and stuff like that in. So
I
yeah.
mean, this is not necessarily, for thread, but that's what works for me is just a
Mhm.
board with metal hooks.
Mhm.
Oh, that reminds me of almost like a store, like
Yep.
retail store.
Yep.
That's
So that's
actually
how I
pretty
keep my
smart because it
thread.
fits the big spools nice.
And you can adjust and move them side to side.
Oh, I like that a lot better than what I have. Okay, I think we need to do like a future episode all on storage.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Something to talk about with thread. I'm sure we all have like a trash can, right? So that's not a like big aha moment. But this is something that I have. My mom made it for me, and I have a little metal magnet hook, and I take it and I make it magnet it right onto my carrier bar. So then when I need to throw threads, I've got it right there.
Okay, that is genius.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that way
Why
I can
didn't
like
I
take
think?
it with me. Um, the magnet too, I use to like put on my light bar and then put my scissors on. So I always know where they are. So magnets are probably a big thing for me and what I use. Um, I have just regular magnet that I use too. I take my intake sheet and I
Yeah.
take the magnet and I magnet it to my keyboard. So then when I go to mark how many bobbins, then I have it right there. I have my length, all of my width, like all of my measurements right there with me, right by my keyboard. So I use a magnet to put that together.
Like on
That's
a
pretty
little
smart.
keyboard tray on your frame, basically.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So smart.
Sorry, I keep looking over here because that's where my
That's where
machine
your
is.
machine is. Yeah, mine's
I'm
across the
talking
room.
about
So,
it. Yeah.
Tucker, where's your machine in relation to where you're
Right
sitting?
behind me, right
Behind
behind
you. We just can't see it.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's too much of a mess to show back there.
You hear
Maybe
that?
one day we can do like a studio tour. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
You have to
Um,
tell us probably like 5 months in advance so we can clean before then
Yeah.
and not start any new projects, right?
that
Mhm.
is true. Mine is kind of clean because I've been on tour. So I haven't been quilting much, but I did start one yesterday and I had to like stop myself at 9:30 at night. Okay, stop quilting. You need to go to bed. You
Yeah.
have to stop. I have another one, a dental pick.
Mm.
Like, like when you go to the dentist and they pick, right? You can buy those at the store. And I use that when I'm weeding vinyl. I don't know if you guys use vinyl at all, but yeah.
Mm.
So it's awesome for weeding vinyl.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, I know that this came in handy literally yesterday. For some reason, I need Kayla's little thing she clips on to put my threads in because one of those threads got caught around my belt, my X belt, and got caught in that gear.
Yeah.
So I had to take my X motor off and clean the thread out. So it came in handy that I had a whole set of tools, right? Like wrenches and things like that, because you never know when you're going to need to adjust your frame, move your frame, take something apart. And if you have to get a new storage shelf, you can use those tools to put it together. But just a general set of tools and wrenches can definitely come in handy in your quilting studio.
Okay, I'm laughing because I'm not taking my frame apart or moving my
Um,
frame. But I do agree with tools because, like you said, you never know, like whatever, if you had to tighten your belts. But also like the teeny tiny screwdriver for your toe gauges and your bobbin cases.
Well, and a rubber mallet, if you have any
Ooh,
seams,
yeah,
right, that are too big that you can smack.
that's a good
mhm.
one too. I didn't think of that.
Mhm.
Rubber mallets. Are
I
those your?
think we keep coming up with more the more that we like talk
Yeah, I
about this.
know.
When you look around your room, you see all like sewing or quilting things because that's just what we're accustomed to having in our room. But
Hmm.
then when you remove yourself and think about those things separately, it's amazing how many things come up that we use that aren't necessarily sewing
Yeah,
related.
it's like I'm looking over my studio now and I have mason jars, like decorative mason jars. And that's where I put my little thread snippets. So I
Yeah.
have two of those in there. Nicole, now I'm staring at the studio. Hold on. Fake
Right.
plants, because you got to have some greenery, but I can't grow things. So they're all plastic and fake.
I have
Lighting.
a vacuum. I mean, that
Ooh.
always lives in my sewing room.
That reminded me, I have instead of, I have canned air, but instead also, you know, the thing, the like plug-in chargeable canned air version, but like it's not canned air. Oh,
I've never heard of it.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no.
Give me a minute to like think about this.
Mhm.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's
Is
a
it
real thing.
like a pump?
No. Oh, hold on, I'll get it. Time out.
Is there anything
Mhm.
else, Tucker, in your room that you have that's obscure?
I mean, I have well, too much stuff in this room to be honest, but um I think it's important too to have something that you can do other than sewing in your space, right? Like I know
Okay.
I have like yarn that I can knit with in my space if I get tired of quilting, or I have, a TV down here that I can just sit and relax and watch something on, a streaming service, but just something other than sewing or quilting, right? Because we all get frustrated whether we're working on our own quilts or a customer quilt, or we're just tired of it for a while and we need that little
You
break.
step back.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually
I
did that yesterday. I sewed something 4 times before I
oh
got. So I had to like step back for a minute and I was using my vacuum. I
Mhm.
vacuumed a little bit and then went back to it and then got it. Sorry, Kat, you're back. Did you find what you were
I
talking
did
about?
find, but first I can't watch TV because then I get sucked into the TV.
Distracted.
This thingy, it's like an air gun, air blower thing. And like this is so it blows air out like a can of air would, but like this is movable and
So
it,
essentially a mini
like
blow dryer that doesn't heat.
yeah, with a little nozzle. Yeah, it just blows air. You got a little light so I
Ah,
can see in the bobbin area. I'm not gonna
never
turn it
seen
on.
one.
Yeah.
Cool.
It has a fancy name. Came from like a tool store, but I can't think of the fancy name, but this is it, and I love it. So,
As you said, tool store.
yes,
I have this.
magnet.
Another magnet, but it extends. So my daughter uses it to pick up pins. So if I don't, you don't pick up a pin right away, not a
Yeah.
big deal. So like she uses it essentially as a metal detector in my room
Oh my
and she'll
god,
like scan the floor for pins.
that is
So it's just kind of a
adorable.
fun thing. I can bend over still, but maybe there's some out there that have a hard time with that. This could be helpful. I am lazy too, so if I don't want to bend over,
Mm-hmm.
tool.
You crack me up.
This is a hard topic, really. Like you said, you have to take yourself out of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the context.
Yeah, I think because like you guys said that it's in our sewing room, so we think of it as a sewing and craft item, even if that's not what the intended manufactured purpose was.
yeah. I'd love to see in the comments like how many of
Yes,
our viewers have things that they use and curious what,
and
because
what
the
the
more we share, right, the more
Mhm.
we learn and can do better with what we have in our space. So
Oh, I agree. Definitely. Please put those in the comments. That'll be so fun to read.
Mhm. Cool.
right.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything else?
I think we're
I
good.
think that's all from my side.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Well, we want to thank everyone so very much for watching this episode of No Nerds. Be sure to comment down below what is your favorite non-sewing item you have in your studio, and we'll be sure to catch you all next time. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.